Hello, and welcome to JOKAKAKA's Evangelion podcast. I'm Jim.
I'm Sam.
And we are in the home stretch, Sam.
Yeah, we are. We're here. If you couldn't tell, it's a bit before we last recorded this, but we're here. We're finally.
Well, the people listening to this will literally have had like no change. It'd be
I
the
know,
normal amount of time
for us. So
I know.
So
it's almost like you shouldn't have even brought it up.
I should have brought it up, but just because my memory for past events might be a little more cloudier than usual.
Okay.
Because I had to ask you a lot about some stuff that.
Yeah, we did. It was maybe about a month.
Yeah.
And a half, maybe between our last session and this, just because life got in the way. So.
Yeah, life got in the way.
Sam's pregnant.
Prom's tomorrow.
I'm the dad.
Prom's tomorrow, and our Mario appearance is the week after.
Yeah. All right. So we're talking about episodes 23 and 24 of the original Neon Genesis Evangelion series.
The penultimate episode before we're done with the season, at least.
True.
Of Evangelion, not the movie.
So it's the penultimate episode.
It's the penultimate of the season of the series that is Evangelion.
Well, that would be the 25th episode, because the 26th episode is the final episode.
Or for us, for this podcast.
Oh, yes, you're correct. Sorry, I was thinking wrong. Yes, you are correct.
I know what a penultimate episode is, Jim.
I was about to call you out for being insane as usual.
Well,
so here we are, episode 23. The two titles are Tears and Rei 3, which it's funny because it's almost like
not really a Rei episode nearly as much.
Yeah,
Rei is a subject for the episode, but she's not the main character of the episode.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it. But it's also funny too because formerly we had episodes Rei 1 and Rei 2.
Yes.
But now the title Rei 3 has like a totally different meaning to us. Because at the time it just was like, oh, this is like Rei's first episode. Arc. Oh, this is Rei's second episode. But now, 12 episodes later, we finally get the conclusion of the Rei trilogy.
I guess.
Rei 3. I love this episode. I think it's probably one of the better paced ones.
Okay.
It's funny because the angel fight is pretty much not a fight at all.
It's just like, oh yeah, we need to get Rei out of the way. Yeah, here we go, the tapeworm.
There's this episode and then the 24th episode that we just watched. An incredible amount of plot dumping just begins to happen.
There is, for better or for worse, honestly.
But at the same time, there's also like an incredible amount of character time. Ritsuko gets so much focus in this episode.
The Rei episode is another Ritsuko episode. It's Ritsuko 2.
Yeah, this is really Ritsuko 2. And I really like that. Ritsuko's a character I was always very intrigued by because she's, unlike Misato, very clearly not a good guy.
She's very cold.
Yeah, she's always portrayed kind of like shitty, even though she is quote unquote like on the good guy team. There's always something like strange about her, and
there's a reason why she gets slapped a lot.
Yeah, and we learn why she's like this. Couple times. She has like a whole complex for Gendo.
There's the mommy issues as well that we kind of... There's a lot of things sprinkled in there that kind of build up in her.
Yeah.
Until she eventually fucking broke.
We see her fail as a woman, as a scientist, and as a mother.
The three parts of being a woman.
I will explain this. She fails as a mother because her cat dies and she doesn't even realize it.
Her mom's cat.
This is something that might be in the next episode.
Her grandmother's cat?
Technically, it was her cat, but she had her grandmother watch it.
Yes.
And she literally forgot about it. She said that she had not thought once about this cat since she gave it away. She failed as a scientist because she let Rei die.
Yeah.
And then she failed as a woman because she got jealous about Rei's relationship with Gendo when she shouldn't care about that.
Okay, to be honest, there's more than one occasion where she failed as a scientist throughout this entire series.
You could certainly point to more. I'm just saying that's probably the most recent one.
Yeah.
That's maybe not her fault, but like she's still in command.
There's many times. How many times had different Eva suits gone berserk and or hijacked?
It's true.
So I mean,
she also, you could say she failed as a scientist for just being part of this horrific, borderline, like crime against humanity that Nervous committed with the cloning and the Eva production.
And maybe you could say she also failed as a friend for Misato.
I think you could say that too. Misato probably that hurts more for her, but from like a narrative standpoint, I would say that's maybe a little bit less important. But yeah, no, it is. They had
that picture of all the three together, and two of them are like broken in different ways, and one of them's probably dead.
Yeah.
Most likely dead.
The whole thing too, I think it's interesting. We kind of get like the call. Ritsuko gets a call about the cat dying, and it almost to me feels like her learning about Kaji in a way. Like I feel like there's kind of like a parallel because we don't really get too much. Like she starts talking about it and you think she's actually talking about Kaji. At least I did, but no, it's not.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because like she didn't. Because we only really see all Masato only when really being affected, where Asuka is more in denial than anything, and Masato is like knows it's true and is like heartbroken by it, and kind of like listening to like his final that thing of listening to having the same voicemail on there saved, like the last voice you hear of them.
Yes,
and being the most like depressing message left. But also leaving instructions for her.
I'm trying to think what it is. There's something I watched recently where they do that trope of like listening to the voicemail. Oh, it's Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad does that trope of listening to the dead person's voicemail, and then the phone plan gets canceled, so he can't listen to it anymore.
Oh.
And that is like such a great way to resolve that, because like you're like forcing this like very realistic pressure. Like that would happen. Like eventually the phone line would get turned off.
Especially if you have landline answering machines.
Yeah. It might have been a cell. I can't remember. But Breaking Bad did a good job with that. So another connection to Breaking Bad and Evangelion.
Sure.
One of the many.
Equals, yeah.
So Asuka is a really good point to talk about too. Asuka, so you were saying how Asuka's kind of in denial. I would say Kaji probably is like on the lower end of Asuka's trauma right now.
Yeah, but
her big thing is like obviously she was like
there's a lot of just like needles poking her.
I would say
a lot of trauma
quite
needles.
Aggressively.
Yeah, so stab. Okay, they're more like shanks and stabs.
Like directly into her brain and her sense of self. So we see, I think the episode begins with her, she's like staying at class rep's house.
Yes.
Like sleeping over.
Playing
seemingly permanently.
Playing Puyo Puyo Tetris on the Sega Genesis.
It's funny because you can tell it's just music from the show that they like kind of made to sound more video gamey.
Yeah.
And all she is doing is playing video games. That is all she's fucking doing.
It's like, yeah, like
not even talking to Hikari.
Going to your friend's house, having a video game session where only one of you plays, and there's completely silence the entire time until let's go to bed.
Yeah, Asuka's like, I think we should go to bed now. And then Asuka very like earnestly, this is like the only moment that Asuka's ever opened up to another human. Honestly, she like literally says, I hate myself. I hate everyone. I've like, I can't rely on myself.
It's been the running theme with her about, she actually breaks down of saying like, I suck.
Yeah, she never would acknowledge her own self-hatred. It would always be directed towards someone else. For her to actually acknowledge it is like kind of a major breakthrough for her. Unfortunately, she's not in a much better position in the next episode. We'll get to that. But I think this is such a fascinating development. I always think this is such a well-considered element of her arc, because the whole idea, and like I feel like I can relate to this, and like probably a lot of people nowadays, with distractions like video games, it's very easy to enter like a state of vegetation where you are just completely shutting out any of your problems.
That's was literally a thing of like many MMOs of just like getting absorbed into something else to distract you from the real world, and like they don't use that, but it's just like the trope of like using it as a way to get away from the world and starting having a new life where you can be something completely different than who you are and whether you like it or not.
And it's not one of those things that's really ham-fisted here. I think it just shows that Asuka has literally just disconnected with the world, and she's just doing, and like I honestly can relate in like some of my like, I don't want to say darker moments, but in time periods of my life where I've been depressed, like that is a very real thing. Like you just kind of wake up and you're just like, what distraction can I put in front of me? Like I'm not actively working towards anything. I'm not working towards myself. I can just play fucking whatever, I don't know, X video game here, like all day, and then I will eventually go to sleep and then cry. No, that's not. But that's what Asuka does. Asuka like actually does have a moment where she opens up to Hikari, and I really like this.
It's probably the last we'll see of her.
Well, yeah, we see her in the next episode. She's not doing too hot.
Well, I meant class rep, because everybody else moves away.
Oh yes, presumably class rep also would move away. I mean, poor girl. Like she's not even an Ava pilot.
No,
but we did learn.
Well, she can.
She could potentially become one, which I love the notion.
Yes, we'll never see any of his guy friends either, most likely.
Yeah,
but
sad.
But yeah, so we do we just go right into like the angel attack kind of thing? Or
There's
like...
one really quick scene.
Okay, yeah, with Gendo and the council.
And Seele, yeah. So the council's called Seele, which in German it means soul.
Okay.
Souls become a big point of discussion in these two episodes.
Yes, heavily.
Not to jump too far ahead, but there is a part in the next episode where they like explain like a hilarious amount of backstory in like literally 3 sentences, and it's actually like the most like relevant and important backstory that is explained in the whole series.
Yeah,
we'll get to it.
Yeah, you have to double check with that with me because there's a lot of quick info in this.
I think maybe unpopular opinion. I think that episode is poorly paced. Looking back on it now,
the second one we watched,
yes, the car episode. I think it might have been better to have maybe, I don't know. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it because I had something to say about that as well.
Yeah, so. I knew you would.
But yeah, so we kind of.
The one thing though that they say is that they can't retrieve the Lance of Longinus. So that was how Rei saved Asuka.
They didn't have a magnet attached to it.
Yeah, they should have put a giant string. Yeah, tied a giant string
to a bungee cord.
Yeah, that was so it would just bounce back.
Yes. Or just a giant magnet, just to press it back and it just comes right back in here.
You think so? Maybe it's made of a non-metallic metal though, or what is it? Non-magnetic
like
metal.
In the movie Prey, where she tied the rope to an axe, and that becomes her gimmick of throwing an axe and pulling a rope
Prey?
back. The Predator prequel.
Oh, I've not seen that.
Literally, that's the gimmick. I have an axe. I tied a rope to it so I can get it. Actually, retrieve it quicker now.
That's funny.
But it's doing the sphere.
That's really funny.
Yeah. So we kind of get the counseling saying like, Asuka's like, they do some like test stuff, and her like, well, when the angel attacks, we learn that Asuka's like single digits.
Yeah,
sync
Asuka used to be the best performing, now the worst.
Yeah.
Don't get depressed, kids.
So wait, what did the council say in that first meeting? Because there's multiple council meetings.
So yeah, Seele takes much more of an active role now. So they've always kind of been like
the shadows.
Yeah, they handed everything over to Gendo, but now
Gendo's sus.
They really think that Gendo is betraying them. Like what Kaji had uncovered about the Marduk Institute and everything, all of Nerve's plans, combined with the fact that they just chucked the lance into space. It really hinders their plans. So we don't know what Sele's plans are, but we know that Gendo is actively acting against them
kind of alluding that Gendo is trying to obtain the power of God or something.
Yeah, that's something they mentioned in the Karu one. So that is pretty crazy, and it's really funny too. So Gendo gets a call in the meeting, and he's like Futsuki, like, I'm in the call right now. But he's like, okay, yeah, there's an angel attack. We'll talk about this later.
Bye.
Yeah, literally hangs up. He's like, could you hear? I think I'm in a tunnel.
you in an underground base. You can't go through a tunnel. You are a tunnel.
You are a tunnel. But yeah, and so they even have a little comment. One of the guys is like, oh yeah, if you're still the fucking guy in charge after this.
They do that threat multiple times on him. Like, you don't even know if you're gonna be the real leader of Nerve anymore. And
he's just like,
whatever.
Gendo is always like 3 steps ahead of these mooks anyway.
Somehow. These goons. And the angel attacks number 18?
So this is actually angel number 16.
Okay.
Kaoru was 17.
Okay.
Just like Dragon Ball.
Sure. Okay, yeah, like the android. But so he is it's a giant. What's the name?
So it is called oh my god, these are all so hard for me to say. It's Armazel.
Armazel, yeah.
Oop, it's showing me an ad for...
It's probably like Armazel, because all angels have that Siel or L end to it.
Symbolism, Angel of the Womb. Oh, the name meaning is Mountain of Judgment of God.
Interesting. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but it starts out like a ring of X's.
So it actually, to me, it looks like a double helix.
Yes.
It looks like X's, but if you look at like from the side, it certainly is evoking DNA. It's evoking, and I feel like that's kind of what it goes into.
Yeah, because they send Rei up there. Asuka gets like ported back when she can't move. So Rei gets attacked by the tapeworm. Essentially, it becomes like a tapeworm and it like stabs her. And we do that famous gif I've seen before of
Rei fishing.
Is that what it is?
No.
Rei shooting the angel at point blank range with the gun.
She has like her sniper like right against it, and of course it's not doing anything.
No. But yeah, this is like, and like it like injects itself into Rei, trying to like merge or have her merge with like they say like in sync with it, or like.
Yeah, so kind of like the arc the angels have been on has been like trying to make contact ever since like Lorelai, the big Lorelai, the big like round one, the fourth dimensional one. But the last one, Azael, the one that was the angel that like attacked.
Yeah, the mental one.
That was just like a mental,
just trying to make contact,
probing. Yeah, it wasn't like having a communication, like a conversation. This one literally has a conversation with Rei.
Yes,
which is crazy. Rei talks to the angel in this episode,
and the fact that it's also like it's like very veiny infection kind of thing look to it.
Yeah, so it's infecting.
And Ray's like blushing because it's like going up her boobs.
I think it's supposed to imply like sexual, like there's like a sexual arousal aspect.
You said like womb to it too.
Yeah, it's apparently it's something, I don't know, I can't remember. It's something, Wiki said something about judgment of the womb. I don't know.
I mean, sure.
I read it 12 seconds ago. But there's clearly, like, I feel like that imagery, Angel of the Womb is the symbol, that's what Evangelion wiki fandom says.
Yeah, and so she had a conversation, and at the same time they're saying they have like, okay, we gotta send Shinji up there. There's really no other way, and it kind of like it takes the form of her when it goes to attack Shinji.
Yes. So basically, what is happening is it's kind of merging with Rei.
Yeah.
And it is very cryptic because it doesn't quite understand everything, but it knows more than like Rei does. Yeah. It seems to think that like Rei is like more connected with them than like a regular person would be. And
it's kind of going to the thoughts of Rei has of like wanting to have companionship and like liking like Shinji.
Yeah, and that's something that like Rei even realizes. So yeah,
she's like, yeah, I'm lonely. Like that's what loneliness is, kind of thing.
Yeah, she kind of explains because the angel doesn't understand loneliness, which is an interesting idea. So Rei explains like the idea of being around people but not connecting.
Yeah,
pretty much the theme of the series.
Theme of Rei.
Yeah, theme of Rei, theme of Shinji. Like you're just unable to connect, even though like you'll see that becomes like a big thing. Like that's just Ava. When I think that that's the whole Hedgehog's dilemma thing. And then as you said, it becomes like Rei. Like it becomes like a giant version of Rei,
like a very glowy angel like Rei that comes out, and then Rei's like, I'm just gonna yoinky splinky this thing back and then self-destruct into a really weird pregnant looking Ava.
Yeah, so one thing that's happening when they merge, a bunch of like, it feels like other parts of Angel start to like form inside of the Ava. Yeah. So it's like using like, I guess, the sort of genetic potential of the Ava to like create new life. And then, Rei uses like an ultimate self-destruct move.
Ava Husk is female, I guess, for the 001, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless they're genderless. I don't know. I don't know the anatomy of the Avas completely yet.
But so what ends up happening, what I love this scene, I think it's so cool. So when Rei like causes the self-destruct, all of like the creation gets like pulled back into like the stomach.
Yeah.
And then it like starts to hover. And it takes like Rei's silhouette, and there's like a halo, and then it explodes. I love that image. I think it's so crazy.
And it just nukes the entire fucking city.
All Tokyo 3. Goodbye.
Good job. We did it. We saved Tokyo 3.
One thing though, I hate to do it again.
Everything but the apartments basically is blown up.
Yeah, Misato's like, thank God we live in the suburbs, which is funny. You think that she would want to live close to like.
Fuck that.
The base, but because like that's a commute you gotta do.
She likes driving her car, okay?
Yeah.
Despite, I don't know what gasoline they have in Tokyo 3.
It's probably expensive.
Unless you have the industrial nerve gas, it's just like
nerve gas.
free for them, or like unlimited for them because
nerve gas.
They just use electricity, not gasoline or oil. And
everyone has a Tesla.
Yeah,
that's why they always crash and explode.
It's all self-driving cars. So what are you saying?
So the scene where Rei talks to the angel, very interesting, very important. Mm-hmm. Also kind of connecting to this motherhood thing. I think it's really important. This is a tiny detail. One might not
r/shitty anime detail.
Yes, r/shitty anime details. Somebody might not have even noticed this had they watched the original like shitty version of the
like the DVD.
Yeah, like the older poor qualities. But like if you watched it like illegally on a pirate site.
Yar.
And like a low resolution.
Back in the day, fan sub day.
Yeah. But so that scene where Rei is like our Rei, #our Rei, the one that's being all veiny.
616 Rei.
Yeah, 616 Rei. She's floating above a sea of LCL. And then there's another Rei that is like partially submerged, and that's the angel. And every time the angel speaks, they add like a reverb effect, so you know.
Yeah.
They keep showing the angel, so she's in the water, like up to like her waist. There is, if you zoom in, there is like a streak of darker colored liquid that you can see coming out of Rei's crotch. I'm not reaching. This is real.
This is what caused every time you played Persona and just wanted to have on your streams and talked about like having a mechanic like that.
I hate to be this guy, but it definitely is making this connection that Rei had brought up before. Remember one of the other times Rei had her funny little monologue where she talked to herself about like how she's weird. She's like, I don't know what I am.
I'm a weirdo.
She says, a woman that cannot bleed. She does say a woman that cannot bleed. So the implication is Rei, as we know her, Rei 2, which I guess we'll call her now, being a clone would not be able to reproduce. She would not be able. She would not have like a period or anything.
They haven't mastered that art of cloning yet.
Well, they also wouldn't want it. They wouldn't want to make. Why would they want to create a clone that could like reproduce? Like that's not part of Rei's.
I don't question the mindset of Gendo or Nerve or in general.
But the angel version of Rei does seemingly bleed periodically into the LCL. And I think it's making a connection about how Rei herself, even though she is a human, she's not like connected to this like sort of actual human relatable thing, but this angel is, and it's I guess it connects to the whole idea of like how the angel when it pierced the Ava, it tried to like create new life inside of it.
That's why I got pregnant.
Yeah, so I think there's something there. Ano is a freak.
Oh yeah,
he's a weirdo.
Judging by these 2 episodes, yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to belabor this point too much more. I did want to bring it up though because I think it is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because like this is like Rei 2, and like Rei 2 is this is her death. Like she dies here.
Yeah.
And this is the Rei that we've been following through the whole series. So it's kind of like a significant.
Because we do see, because they literally have their hazmat suits and they go look through it and they kind of see like a charred arm like in the pod.
Yeah, that's really dark. That is like a really dark moment, I think, finding Rei's corpse. And then Akagi or Ritsuko's response to it, or her thing is like, all right, this is totally classified. Like,
don't talk.
We need to make the cover up so that we can pretend like Rei's fine when we throw the new clone in.
Thank God we had that reinforced pod. So, but yeah, we have to have, we cut back to also with the council again, and basically saying like, Asuka's fucked. We're sending in
Rei's dead.
Rei's dead. They don't.
Well, they actually don't know that, but
Asuka is.
They're mad that Unit Zero's blown up.
Yeah, Unit Zero's blown up. Asuka is fucked. They're sending a new pilot, the 5th child, and yeah, Gendo, you better watch out, kind of thing.
And he's like, yeah.
And yeah, so basically, what we know later, so they basically send an angel, essentially, or maybe unknowingly sent an angel, or an angel replaced the person they had, the fish child. I don't know the full context yet for that, for what the council sends.
We shall see. Well, that's like we're still like in episode 23 still.
Yeah,
like that. Rei dying is like Act 1.
They do because they mentioned they are sending the fish child.
Yeah. Which, I assume we learn is Kaoru, who is an angel, actually.
Yeah.
They must have known he's an angel because all the kid does is talk about how people are called Lilith or Lilum.
He's literally doing a villain monologue of like speaking like I like your funny words, Magic Man kind of style.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but
so
they kind of Ritsuko kind of gets sent instead for Gendo because Gendo's doing Gendo shit. And she's, like I said, she sent there naked to the council to kind of answer for everything that happened.
Answer for her crimes.
I guess so.
No.
Answer for like what just happened. For I guess the whole incident. I guess
like a debriefing.
Yeah.
Yes, and we talked about this a bit. I still am not entirely sure why she's naked. I think it's supposed to be more of a metaphorical thing, like how she's finally showing like her true nature,
or how
like all
maybe
this...
more so how she actually feels now. It's around with everybody for how she is like portrays herself as like the strong, smart female side, where like everybody now is seeing her just like just flesh.
Yeah, she's essentially being kind of like
stripped.
Yeah, and similar to how her mom was this brilliant scientist,
literally created like the whole computer system of Nerve.
Yeah, and still let like the flaws of her humanity get to her.
He murdered Rei 1.
Yeah, she let her jealousy her jealousy get the best of her and murder a child.
Yes.
Similar to how like Ritsuko's whole thing is like there's always been kind of like a sexual allure to this character, I think, like with her and Kaji, but like finally learning that she definitely also has a thing for Gendo, and it like has
sex icon Gendo,
and it has controlled her. This is something that like, because every time we've seen like Misato confused by something Nerve's doing, we see Ritsuko doing it. Like Ritsuko is the one that did Jet Alone. Like she did the sabotage for that.
Yeah. She was used as a tool essentially.
Yeah, like Gendo had her wrapped around his finger and his penis.
He doesn't stick his dick in that shit.
He may have.
Maybe, I don't know.
He at least like wanted her to think he would, because that's why
he only ever shown any affection or care for Rei essentially.
And his dead wife.
He did, sure.
My dead wife. Gendo being a wife guy is like the funniest fucking thing ever.
It's bad guy 101 and just like, my wife, she died tragically from something I was a part of as well. So
I'm gonna become a weird incel and hate my son.
There's like villain backstory, or you'd be like sole bad guy in Guilty Gear who has that same thing with like something happened in wife and experiment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is basically the same thing, isn't it?
Yes. Guilty Gear and Eva are very close.
His wife becomes Judgment. Is that what happens?
Judgment or Justice.
That's right.
But that is very funny. And then
that is really funny.
We have all the Valentines that are also something of his wife. Guilty Gear and Ava are like neck and neck, of just hand in hand at the same thing.
I can see it.
It's a lot more rock music.
Well, we do have a reference to Knocking on Heaven's Door.
You do
in this episode.
Yeah, the second title of like the second episode,
or the next one.
It's like it's like one word in the parentheses, or Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Yeah. So really, the last thing we see in this episode that's important is.
Shinji's kind of like depressed.
Oh, we didn't talk about this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like one of the most important scenes of the whole series.
Start the episode, Misato is just depressed in her room, listening to the text message or voicemail over and over again. Then she tries to consult Shinji and tries to, do the creepy, like, I'm going to creep on the Shinji to maybe cheer him up, because maybe touching a boob will make him happy.
Yeah, this is like literally like this is such a like horrifying thing Misato tries to do, but it's so in line with her character.
It really is.
I cannot believe how like this
she doesn't
works so well.
She doesn't know how to console anybody, really. Like
the only way that she's ever found like any sort of satisfaction or like happiness is through sex. Like Misato uses sex as like a sort of mood diffuser, or like. So it's only natural that she would be like, oh yeah, Shinji just needs to fuck, like, which is horrifying.
And she can't really learn from anything, because like any traumatic thing, like what happened with Kaiji, like no one consoled her at all. Or you think Ritsuko, anybody would, but no.
And it's horrible too, and it really sets up Shinji in the next episode for like having no one.
Yeah.
Like Asuka was never someone that Shinji was really close with. There was like maybe 2 minutes where they were kind of friends. But Rei was really like the one character aside from Misato that Shinji had like a growing connection with, and now she's dead. So Shinji's really upset. And then Misato coming and like trying to like hold his hand, and like his reaction is just like heartbreaking. Like the betrayal that Shinji must feel in this moment. Yeah. I can't even imagine. And then Misato, her reaction is also weird. She's just like, it's like, I guess he's too nervous or too anxious to deal with women. It's like, no, Misato, your values are fundamentally flawed. But I think it's important too Misato was horrifically traumatized too as a child. She was like a mute for 3 years.
Everybody here is horrifically traumatized in different ways, from like Ritsuko, Rei, Shinji, Misato, like.
It's funny. There's this kind of theme now you see in like every Disney movie about generational trauma. How it's like the trauma of like the parents get like leaks into their children, and then the grandchildren get it.
I think the only recent Disney movie I've seen is fucking Tangled. So that
is not one where generational trauma is.
That's the only one. So I could not take your word.
You didn't see Coco?
I have not seen Coco.
Okay, Coco's does it. I think the We Don't Talk About Bruno movie does it.
Encanto.
Yeah,
Encanto.
It's like the meme now. Every movie does it, but. Like, Misato is an adult, and she's found her coping mechanism, which is fucking. And for her, it's like, oh well, yeah, like fucking would be fine. Like Shinji just needs to get like a blowjob or whatever.
Suck his dick wet and he'd be happy.
Which it's just so, I don't know. It's so disgusting to me that Misato would think that, but also like I love that character writing. I think that is phenomenal character writing.
And you said, there's no evidence in this show at all of like Misato knowing a way to like console somebody that's going through like a heavily traumatic incident.
Yeah.
she's no Uncle Phil to comfort Shinji.
Oh, if only Shinji could have had Uncle Phil Banks.
Evangelion, but Uncle Phil is there. It's just part of nerve for Shinji.
Oh.
Instead of Kaji, you have Uncle Phil.
Oh, that'd be great.
Ava would be the good end.
Uncle Phil's fucking Misato.
I don't that art.
Yeah, just picture, man.
But no, it's very fascinating. But yeah, so basically Misato is basically said they're gonna have to move away from there. I'm not sure that's this episode or that.
I think that might have been the next one, but yeah.
that's implied. That's stated at some point. It's just minor details. It's what's it called? There's another one. Not a minor detail with the Tokyo got destroyed. All the classmates moved away essentially.
Yeah, that's more the next one.
Yeah, these are just minor details.
But yeah, Shinji just basically being isolated.
He's basically everybody's gone now.
I think the last real thing that happens in this episode is
Risco
bringing
Misato
Shinji.
And Shinji literally stepping out of the shadows.
Jump scare.
Shinji stepping out of the shadow is very funny.
So
and Risco just dragging Shinji along is very funny. Cause did Risco really ever have a conversation with Shinji of just not part of the job?
Not super deep, if I can't. I feel like there have been brief interactions. Oh, there is one that actually. There's one more thing we do need to talk about. Shinji seeing Rei again.
Oh yeah, he's like, "Hey Rei, you saved my life." He's like, "I did. I guess I did." And she also just back up to her episode 1. So basically, we just learned that the eye patch and broken arm are fake, essentially. Of essentially just guilting Shinji into it because she
at least in this scene.
In this scene, but it also could apply. This is how Gendo got Shinji into the Unit 1 by faking.
Rei was in a lot of pain in that first episode. You can see when she falls out of the stretcher, she's dying.
They implanted a great acting into her.
They certainly did not. Rei is the least acting capable person ever.
But it'd be very funny to think that though.
But no, that is it does kind of feel like a callback.
Or she had a minor injury, a broken rib, but she kind of just put these fucking bandages on.
It is kind of a callback because that was how Shinji was introduced to Rei, and then we have this new version of Rei, and Shinji's introduced to her wearing the same bandages. And
she says she's like, okay, I'm Rei 3 essentially, but she also
she's like, I'm the third one.
Yeah, I'm the third one, but also she doesn't remember anything, but kind of have a weird gut feeling remembrance kind of thing. Where she has certain feelings that she kind of pseudo remembers, and I think we kind of get an answer to this here. So then going back to what we were just talking about, Ritsuko brings Shinji down to Terminal Dogma. And Misato's there too. So was Shinji waiting exactly in the shadow of when she tried to swipe the door? Because he steps out of the shadow when she's trying to do that.
He was just
he walking in? She's like, okay, we're gonna walk down. You stay in the shadow. When whoever comes up there, you step out and make them stand down.
It is not entirely impossible that she would say, "Hey Shinji, hide over there."
Step in that little shadowy corner.
Into that shadow. It's a very funny reveal how Shinji just gets unshadowed.
Shinji jump scare.
But yeah, it is also a callback how Misato has the key card to get into Central Dogma from Kaji.
Yeah.
And it's the same way that Kaji did it.
Yeah, she came behind Kaji. Trust nobody, especially yourself, kind of the gun to the back. But they go deep. They go
deep. They go hard.
They go deep down into the Rei tube room, and they kind of reveal that. So they reveal a bunch of I guess homunculus or of Rei clones that are soulless.
I guess they literally are homunculuses. I would just say the word clone, but
they're clones. But essentially, they're soulless husks. Essentially, of Rei. They're all creepy, smiling in these tubes, and these Reis are what make the cores, the pods, all the goo and everything.
The dummy plugs, yeah.
Yeah. They power the dummy plugs.
So yeah, they power the dummy plugs, and they're also used to swap out if the current Rei dies.
Yeah, they implant the soul back in.
The main Rei. And that's interesting. I think that's the part that's interesting. So they say, these vessels don't have souls, so
is
there seems to be a persistent soul though.
So is it the tube is the programming are these smugglers? Is the goo the little gold the
LCL?
Yeah, is that the Rei stuff, the grounded up Rei in there?
Probably not. I don't think they ever properly explain what LCL is.
Okay.
There are literally conflicting definitions of it.
So is it explained how
canon,
those Reis are used to make the dummy core or the core,
the dummy plugs.
The plugs. I mean, they're not dummy plugs.
I don't know if it's totally explained, but like presumably they would be using like maybe parts of the Rei, like they like rip her brain open.
Oh, as we see, the touch of a button, you can just make them crumble. The crumble button.
Yeah, I wonder what she did to that water to make them all just extremely die.
It like give them a soul button, and you just like crumbled from the weight of a soul.
But what I think is it's interesting to learn. Okay, well, Rei doesn't have a soul, but there is like this kind of weird, persistent like soul that is now embodied into Rei 3, like our current Rei.
Yes,
and it has like some.
It has some lingering memories.
Yes, yeah.
From there, and maybe could be from the result of the last Rei having contact, like at least a little bit of synchronization with the angel, the contact.
Mm-hmm. It also might hint towards the like, what is Rei? Like, is Rei something different that we don't quite understand?
I already had my prediction of just being the clone of his mother, obviously, but like, what it's gonna be like Jurassic Park, where like, oh, we mix some cuttlefish in there and
some carpenter ant.
Yeah, like
some cuttlefish. That's why she's like, she just been inkling at that point.
She's a squid girl now. Yeah. She's a kid now. I'm sure if I Google Splatoon Rei,
I'm sure it exists. I do love the idea that like when they were trying to make the Rei clone, like a few of them were like squid-like. Like there was like a little inkling version of Rei.
I was hoping to be more some like fucked up ones of like
deformed Reis. Like a Rei with a head that's 2 times its size. Or with one that has like 12 toes.
12 toes. 2 heads.
2 heads, 1 nipple.
Damn.
We do also see nipples, which is rare. We don't see the nipples.
The rare find of Ava nipples.
Rare nipple sighting. Really good though. That is it's okay.
Splatoon Rei.
I don't want to shit on that artist, but I don't really.
They don't know what I'm looking at.
Okay, that looks like that's just like cosplay. That's Splatoon cosplay.
It's Splatoon cosplay.
That is really funny, actually. I like that one a lot. Sam is just showing me fan art now.
What about Rei in a gamer chair?
That's pretty funny.
That was probably real advertising stuff.
Rei would never play a video game.
What about Rei in like an actual clothing brand of Fila? A figure of that.
All right.
But yeah,
I think that's really it.
Yeah, because
there's one. Okay,
go ahead.
So we actually see the room where Rei is born as well, and they say born and raised.
Yes,
and it's basically
it's a shithole.
It's a shithole, and Rei recreates like all the beakers and shit to look like her apartment.
Yes,
and there's a lot of weird shit written on the walls.
Yeah, I saw bottom.
So the word top and bottom are written along with strangeness.
Yes.
Does this jog any memories in something that does not have to do with Ava? Have you ever heard the term?
It's called the Joker writing ha 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 on everything.
So, have you ever heard of quarks before? So you know, like subatomic particles, like protons.
Yes. Captain Quark with a character in Ratchet and Clank.
That is true. That is true. So, I think quarks are not theoretical particles. I think they are. Yeah. Okay. So. Basically, like protons and electrons, neutrons, they're all made out of these things called quarks, which are like subatomic particles. And for whatever reason, scientists that have discovered them have given them like flavors, I guess they're called. They're known as flavors.
That's an awkward word to use. So
instead of saying like, okay, well, protons are positive and then
neutrons
electrons
are neutral.
Yeah. So quarks can be up, down, charm, strange, top, or bottom.
Okay.
And they all have different. I'm not going to pretend like I understand. But they all have different attributes, or I guess things that they notice. But we're kind of beginning to make this sort of like quantum correlation with Rei as a character. Mm-hmm. I want you to just let that sit.
More layers, more.
Just let that sit in your tiniest part of your cerebellum.
I mean, she is. I guess Shinji is the neutron, Rei is the electron,
and then Asuka's the positron, the proton.
Positron.
Wait, is it called proton?
Proton.
Okay, my God, I'm not
proton, neutrons, electrons.
There we go.
Yeah, there we got our 3 piles right there, and the other ones are just random fucking other ones that don't connect or work with anything else. So yeah, and I think that's the end of the episode, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because the next episode has the result of what happens with Risco and everything after she like nukes the bodies. And Visada doesn't shoot her.
All right, yeah, let's move on to episode 24. Let me just pull that up on the wiki.
Mm-hmm.
The Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is called Episode 4. Episode 24, The Final Messenger, also known as The Beginning and the End, or Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Interesting.
Also interesting, Anno did not direct this or the last episode. He did write them.
Interesting.
He was a co-writer for them, but he did not actually direct. I need to go through and see how many he actually directed. It doesn't look like he directed most of these final few. All right, so
yeah,
this one. Before we get into the nitty gritty, I think like there is a fuck ton pack jammed into this episode.
Some would say too much.
I can see that.
But yeah, so there's a bunch of things happening in this episode. Is the Asuka like being found in the bathtub in this episode?
That is the first scene, actually.
Where she looks like she's like haven't eaten and like she's like starving. It looks like with her face. Or
she had been gone for 7 days.
She's in like a destroyed building in a bathtub, empty bathtub, naked, just staring through the crack in the wall until someone steps in.
Yeah, they had to like bust the door down. I think a really great detail is that she folds her clothes neatly and puts them, and she like even like folds her socks neatly.
So she's fucked, and we learn that she's like literally like comatose.
And yeah, we see kind of like a sort of like interpretive flashback of her as a child being selected to be a part of the Ava program, and then seeing her mom hang herself.
Yes, which we've talked about.
Yeah, which sucks.
In her, I think the last episode we recorded, I think that was that one.
I think so. And it adds a little bit more context because we know that her mom had issues with like perceiving. Her mom had issues. Her mom had issues perceiving her daughter as not her daughter. But to know that was like the happiest day of baby Asuka's life as the day her mom died is a little upsetting.
Damn. But yeah, so we have that happening. We have
Asuka's essentially destroyed. Like we have nothing more to really say about Asuka in this episode. Like her being unable to fight and save Rei at all. She couldn't even synchronize with her Ava last episode. She literally is comatose by the end of this one. We see her just laying in bed, like goodbye, Asuka.
And like now that everybody in the school is gone, she has no one to be bragging herself to. She's just alone now more than ever.
And that might be why she is on her own, because Hikari's family moved away.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't go back to Misato or Shinji because she hates them.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's literally sitting naked in like a dirty tub, waiting to die, presumably.
I'm guessing she's in this Tokyo 3, just
some wrecked building, yeah.
That's probably radioactive.
And one little line Misato has that I like is she gets like mad that the people couldn't find her for so long. She's like, you guys seriously like secret agents? Like you watch her all the time and she gets away for 7 fucking days. Like, what the fuck?
She just found a secret random building that in the middle of like, she hid in Chernobyl, man. Where do you think we're going to fucking go in Chernobyl to look at? Like, for fuck's sake. So yeah, we had that. We have like Risco basically being interrogated the entire episode with like Gendo.
Yeah, she's like in prison now. She's
in a void prison, sitting on a chair, and just kind of chats with like Gendo and Misato at certain points. Misato's also trying to get more information about the fish child that's being sent on the way.
Yeah.
Because the guy is doing epic hacking.
I forget his name. It's not Ibuki. I think that's the girl. Hyuga or something like that.
I'll take your word for it.
It might be in the wiki. He's the glasses guy.
Yeah.
The glasses guy.
So basically, he's working with her to get some information because the next child on the way, and there's some information that like he was born on the same day as the second impact.
Yes, that's a little
sussy. And there's not much information other than like that. And he's being sent directly. Like everything about like him being sent is incredibly suspicious. Like he going right from the academy. I think the council kind of picked him out. Like
the Marduk Institute.
Yes, there's a lot of sketch around him. And at the same time, Shinji also just like reminiscing about like everybody moved away. I'm depressed. I don't want to go home because Misato's at home. There's no one there. Like, Asuka's out there. Shinji's out there. Like Pen, we're gonna have to move away. I'm sorry, someone's gonna take you in, Pen.
Yeah, like Shinji has no one. There's no one in his life that Shinji can turn to.
And yeah, so Shinji somehow, as menacing as like this guy's obviously sketch of just sitting on a rock in the water, just like being vague as hell about stuff.
I love Kaoru.
So
I find Kaoru so awesome as like he's a character that is so important to the series, and he's literally in one episode.
So I kind of didn't like he was in one episode. I kind of wish he was like in there more, just to like
in the series.
Yes,
more.
In the series more. Doesn't have to be a pilot, but or like maybe he'd be like in the school or something, and like because he just kind of like okay, yeah. Now he's also Shinji's gay lover. And now he's also like Shinji's best friend. Maybe just supposed to like visualize like Shinji just like getting absorbed by somebody because it's the first person like to be interested in him that's like out of nowhere. Like could be Shinji's being like honey-dicked into this situation.
I think that really is the big part of it. Like,
but
I don't know if you like this is something that I feel like a lot of people can relate to, myself included. When you have like nobody, when one person shows you like the smallest amount of kindness or interest, it is like your whole entire world. Like at least for a little bit, and we learn for Shinji, like he doesn't have a chance to like move past it. Unfortunately,
they had like even just like 1 or 2 episodes of having him there, just like when Shinji gets betrayed, I could see him reacting to it even like more so. But going through that mindset, I'm fine with it still. But like
I think
I feel like there could have been a little bit more with like their relationship.
I understand. I think part of it, too, is that there just isn't enough time in the episode to develop it.
That's why I said to maybe get rid of Magma Diver and just, like, save an episode for that.
No, we need that for positive Asuka time, when Asuka used to be happy.
I don't need to see inflated Asuka for, like, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But no, that's just it's a minor complaint, like, or I'm not sure that's a major complaint for the show, but I still feel like could be a
people like Kaoru.
Oh, people love him. I see him on the condom box we talked about last episode. Condom. Put him all the merch already. He had this one shot of him in like the blue Ava suit, and there's probably figures of that all over the place.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the rebuilds, but to no surprise, Kaoru does show up there too.
Yeah.
So a lot of his popularity could probably be attributed to that as well.
I can see him being more popular in one episode than Mari being in like the 4 rebuilds or 3 rebuilds, whichever.
That's how I feel. I think she's in 3, whatever. But I think he just leaves such an impact on the series, and it would be strange for him to have shown up before the whole like Shinji being isolated thing. Like I think he comes in at like the perfect time.
I guess so, but maybe showing up at that time.
We just don't have enough time.
But having like maybe an episode after that kind of build up Shinji and his relationship. Maybe get more about him a little bit sprinkled in there, other than him being vague and poetic about everything. Because he is vague and poetic about everything.
He kind of is, but he's also like extremely direct about. He talks in ways that confuse people around him, but if you know what he's talking about, he's being so obvious.
Yeah.
Like he literally doesn't call people humans. He keeps saying Lilim. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw Lilim. I didn't know.
He keeps saying like, oh, you're Lilim. Like he's not like. It would be so weird if he was around for another episode because people would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like I mean, they're clearly not a human.
They already were saying that, but like. This also could have been another like intrigue point toward like the academy or whatever, the institute. There's a lot of things around him. Like, I hopefully we probably will get explained more about like his role in that.
But yeah, he's great. We love Kaoru.
Shinji's like, I'm not gay, but
he's also humming "Ode to Joy." I don't know if you caught that.
I caught the music also that's in there.
Also, his first line is literally like, music. Songs are great. I think he literally says songs are one of the greatest things that the Lilim have made.
So stupid.
And also the term Lilim, you're just like, what the fuck does it mean?
Are you trying to say Lilith? Or are they like another like demon, angel kind of like heaven, hell kind of thing in this show?
I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know.
Because wait, wasn't the corpse that was always below them, was that Lilith, they say? Or that... I could have swore they said the name to what that was. I could have swore they said like Lilith.
Spoil
or
things. I'm looking at the synopsis just to be sure.
I could have swore maybe just refer to Lilim. I keep thinking, oh, maybe he mentioned Lilith.
So yes, I think he does call that Lilith.
Okay.
So it was a big misdirect. This whole time we've been called it's Adam.
But yes,
it's not.
We'll get there. But we have a lot of like with Shinji talking to him, having like he's blushing a lot towards him.
Immediately, Shinji is like, "Oh my god, someone likes me!
Oh my god, hi!
Oh my god, I have a crush now."
And then
he doesn't want to tell about though.
He's having sleepovers with them, He's also like, very good at like syncing. Like he's like his sync levels are like very high. That he like actually like sync with Asuka's.
Yeah,
neck.
he syncs with Unit 2, which is and like one of the Ibuki. I think she's even like, this is like literally not possible.
Yeah,
and then Misato's like, first we must acknowledge the truth, then we will discover its truth.
She's like,
or whatever.
Are you fucking hacking to get the information about it? Because this is mad sus right now.
But yeah, it's very strange that this child is perfect, and as he's thinking, he's also smug.
Yeah,
he's got a very smug face.
Very much. It reminds me a lot of Killua with his look.
That's really funny you say that.
Why is it funny that I say that?
I don't know. It's just funny that like you make that connection because they like Gon and Killua, they love each other.
They do love each other.
They have the strongest bond between two boys.
They're
ever.
Also probably murdered many people.
They definitely have murdered many people.
The angels have killed many people, and that's part of his family technically, I guess.
Yeah. So there's most of the episode. I would say the best parts are between Shinji and Kaoru, and like. Kaoru's just like, hey Shinji, let's go like take a bath, like let's sleep over, let's cuddle together, let's no, but he's just really good. He's really great. He cares about Shinji. He talks about him. He asks about Shinji.
Yeah,
things that you want to do when you're trying to get with someone.
Yeah,
like he clearly the part when he like he's laying in bed and he's like, Shinji, I feel like I was born to meet you. Such a horrifyingly creepy line, but it's very sweet as well.
There's also a lot of you and me aren't very different after all, kind of like.
He says that with Rei. Yeah, there's a lot of that with Rei.
There's a lot of that, like, it very much does that.
So I think really like Shinji's attraction to him is certainly like. I wouldn't say it comes from a place of desperation, but it kind of does.
I'm like in terms of like American pop culture, he's like the mysterious bad boy that showed up that he just became attachment to.
Big Top Gun vibes, I would have to say in this episode.
Being my wingman anytime.
I do want to address the alleged conspiracy. No, not conspiracy. The controversy behind the Netflix version of this.
What did they do?
So. He says, "Shinji, I like you" in the sub that we watched. In Japanese, he says the word "ski," which can be translated to like or love, kind of interchangeably. There isn't like a
it's a word to be vague, so you can take it to whatever way you see it as.
Yes, in former translations, though, it always has been like written as love, like explicitly written as like Shinji, I love you, like. So there was controversy about are they trying to like even de-gayify this?
Even in dub they did that too.
Yes, I believe so. I believe the dub and the sub are really close for this new version.
I mean, usually subtitles are taken from a dub of the dub script more so than the.
Yeah, I guess it just depends. It depends on like how the production goes. With this, the dub was like very importantly considered by Netflix. They wanted to make a new dub. And a new translation, probably for legal reasons, but
probably.
They, so I always saw this as like just unquestionably romantic attraction between the two. Shinji is clearly flustered. He blushes.
Yes.
We only see characters blush in this series when it is like a romantic or even sexual sort of like implication.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There was like an annoying amount of like, I actually speak Japanese, and Shinji's not saying love here. He's saying blah, 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 whatever.
I mean, you can see it as, like, him blushing towards him, or you see it as, like, someone showing him attention or affection of any kind. Like Shinji's that lonely where, like, he'll probably do that to anybody that just shows any attention to.
I, like, firmly believe that as well. Like, it could have been Rei, it could have been Asuka. Well, I mean, not Asuka. He would have just hated her still. But, I don't know. I guess you could also see Shinji as bisexual. I don't see that as being,
I can see that too. Yeah.
I don't see that as like completely like canon breaking. Some people see
Shinji will be attached to anybody that would give him at the time of day.
Yeah, just to quote one of my favorite bands of Montreal, there's a song where one of the lines is, "I would have given it all to just anybody who would have shown me a little sweetness," or something like that. It's like anybody that would have been a little bit sweet to me, I would have given everything to them, and that's true. Like people definitely need that attention. Humans are social creatures. When you deprive humans of that, the smallest amount is like enough to drive them and like have them completely seek it out in like unhealthy ways.
Even like a lot of introverts, like speaking as if I'm an introvert, like you get hit by that too, where you need to socialize. It's better how like you want to be alone or don't want to be socialized.
You still need it. Yeah. You like even if you're the most introverted guy.
Yeah.
If you're L from Death Note, you still need to talk to your boyfriend Light every once in a while.
Boyfriend Light. Maybe we could do Death Note one day.
I'd love to watch Death Note again. I like that series a lot.
And then all the live action one, Japan or American.
Yeah. All of them.
And then the time where Trump gets the Death Note that one special.
I always wanted to read that. I never read that.
We'll get a reason to. But so yeah, get a lot of that interaction happens throughout. We had at the same time was like the Ritsuko. Ritsuko actually is completely broken down. Like she like literally like she's broken completely in this.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about it, but last episode she was asking for Misato to kill her. After she killed all the Rei clones or destroyed them, which is really I like that she makes the distinction. She's like, this is just company property. These aren't people. They don't have souls. They have no souls. They don't have souls. I'm allowed to show their assholes on television.
They don't got no souls. Yeah, just cough and flop with all the Rei clones. They just flop. They just like come out of the air conditioning units and like lockers.
Just for the next few weeks, they keep seeing like Rei bits everywhere.
Since the crumble button was broken, so she had to do it different ways.
Just dead weight. Busted out a shitty wood.
She crashed shit wood.
Oh my god.
It's like yeah. I'm allowed to show it, man. That'd be great. The great way to do it with a crumble button didn't work.
But yeah, Ritsuko's like kill me, she's like my mother and I were fools, like kill me, and then Misato's like the real fool is somebody who'd want to get killed. Like, all right, great one, Misato.
Got him.
Yeah.
Checkmate.
Like, all right, go fuck a teenager, Misato, like you wanted to earlier.
She's like this. I'm on like 7 days straight of coffee, like energy drink.
Yeah.
Like I'm about to fucking like in Futurama when like Fry has like
the 300 cups of coffee.
Yeah, and then time just slows down for her eventually. But yeah, so the main thing is that when he just suddenly goes rogue, grabs Unit 2 and descends, and Shinji has to descend as well to fight him. Where he's like hovering outside of it. He's not in Unit 2. He's just kind of controlling it.
Yeah, remotely.
Remotely, yeah.
Because he's an angel. I love the way he glows too. There's that like wonderful 90s glow aesthetic.
Does he have an angel name, or do they just use his character's name?
I'm pretty sure it's just Karu. He might have a name. I'm sure that in some like
does his name translate
video game spin-off manga, there's probably
M64.
A proper name for. Let me see. Final Angel. Yeah, it's just Karu.
Okay, I wasn't sure that had an alternate name to it.
Known relatives unknown.
Wow.
Why would they say that?
Ned Bigby, status alive. My favorite entry from the Ned's Classified wiki, if you didn't know.
Yeah, so he's born on the 13th of September. He is a Virgo.
You remember?
Affiliations, Angel.
Wow, great. So yeah, so he's an angel, and like I mentioned earlier, so like the council, so they had to know he's an angel.
Yes, so they actually, so normally they just have like conference calls with Gendo in like his special room, but here they just have a conference call with him like in the middle of the lake, so I guess he can just whatever. It's a cool visual, but this is literally like one of the most important like scenes in the series for trying to understand like what is Ava? Like when you see that clip of Alex Jones like explaining what Ava is. I need to rewatch
it now after I
it literally is just that. Like, so the big thing here.
Yeah, because you probably tell me if I missed it at all or anything, or it was rapid fire and I kind of maybe I hit overload at that point.
Yeah, it's really easy to miss. It's something I didn't get until like my second viewing maybe. At least like the details of it. But so I'm just gonna kind of read from the wiki because I think it does a decent job explaining it. They reveal that like Gendo wants to become like a god. Like that's kind of the thing, and we see
him have like the hand, like
which we were told was Adam.
Yes.
By what's his face, Kaji. So that is our true Adam.
It was whatever that thing in the briefcase was Adam. We were shown that so early on, saying that it was. I'm pretty sure they said it was Adam back then.
Yeah,
we never should have believed that the big thing underneath was Adam. It was very obvious that it's not.
Yeah, like clearly a misdirect.
Yeah.
So they admit that humanity, as progeny of Lilith, born from the Black Moon, are the usurpers of the children of Adam, born of the White Moon, the angels. So I know that sentence makes no sense. So humanity comes from Lilith.
Okay.
And Lilith, we learn, is the big thing on the cross under.
Yes. That had the spear in it.
Yeah. And then all of the angels. So and they say what they say from the Black Moon. So the Black Moon is actually. I feel like they mentioned this once already, so I'm not technically spoiling it. The Black Moon is the geofront, like that giant like dome that they're in, like where the pyramid is, like because that's underground. They're inside the Black Moon, and like when they went down to Terminal Dogma, you could see the texture on the walls looked like weird, kind of like the surface of the moon. And the White Moon, which I wonder what that could be. Is that the real moon? Maybe.
Oh God.
That's where Adam. Like whatever, that's where Adam was born from, and the angels are children of Adam.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the biggest backstory that.
And maybe the angels were just trying to get Adam back, but for some reason
the angels are trying to get to Lilith.
They were okay. Yeah, I said, well.
That's why they're always trying to.
What's his name? Karu.
Karu. Yeah.
Karu. He was like surprised to find out that it was not down there though. Like, he was, like, kind of surprised that it wasn't... They weren't attracted to it. They just had an idea that maybe our other thing we want is down here, obviously, but it wasn't there. He was kind of surprised, and it's like, when Shinji got him, like, okay, I'm dead now, I don't, like, care, but, like, he seemed, like, surprised that's not what they were looking for.
Yes, it's interesting, though, because, like, so Karu does have, like, more knowledge than, like, a regular angel would, presumably, because he can like, communicate. But I don't... That is really interesting, because... The angels are all drawn to it.
Yes.
So we could assume that maybe the angels know where they're going. They're trying to get to Lilith, but Karu being a human, he's under the impression that it was Adam because he's being lied to.
I think maybe because Adam's in Gendo's hand, like maybe it's in the facilities, and like maybe the power's underneath, so maybe it's probably at the very bottom of this thing, like an idea.
The angels had been attacking before Adam was brought to Tokyo 3, though. Like, Ramael attacks and tries to dig down before...
That's weird.
They're definitely trying to get to Lilith.
But, like, yeah, the thing of him being surprised that it wasn't down there. Like, unless the spear, or the I don't know. It doesn't make sense either, because they were trying to get down there. Like, the
Lance of Longinus, or whatever, they call it the Spear of Longinus in this. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Lance, but whatever. But so I think that shows that there's a disconnect in understanding. Like, Karu is being drawn to this. Maybe he doesn't know why.
Yeah.
But he has been told that it's Adam, so he's surprised. But he's also, like, nonplussed by it.
And the Avas came out of it, didn't...
So the Avas...
like, came... Like, I'm pretty sure we saw, like an Ava, like, leak out of it at one point.
We do see...
or it grew legs at one point.
Yeah, that's when the lance gets pulled out, because it starts, like, growing.
And we see it just, like, cuts pieces of it up so it can, like, make an Ava.
Yeah, so... Karu also, a little bit later, I think he says that the Avas are born of Adam.
Yeah.
And humans should see them as, like, because they're angels, they're essentially similar to angels, they should be...
It's a weird combination. It's like a weird combination of both, where, like, maybe they use Adam to, like, solidify it all when it leaks out or whatever, because... I don't know. It's weird. With Adam being so small, I don't understand yet what Adam is.
Dude, we really don't know what Adam was prior to episode 9 when Asuka comes in, because that's when we first see Adam.
Yeah, that was literally the rogue robot episode. It was like when we first see it at the very end, the credits, I think.
Was it that one?
I believe that was the first thing. It was like an after credit scene.
Because
like
it was the
Kanji cuts the briefcase and like opens it up. I believe.
Yeah, that was because he comes over in the episode with Asuka.
I could have swore it was teased at the end of that one. I don't know. Maybe I'm going crazy. It's been a while.
It has been a little while.
So, but yeah, but they also have this shot of like where Shinji grabs him and like he's like, oh yeah, I don't fear life or death. Like you can just do it, Shinji. Fucking kill me. And it just like lingers on Shinji for like a minute or two, and then he just goes to black and you hear him squish, and like the Ava had blood on his hand.
And we see Karu's head fall into
the water, into the
LCL.
So yeah, that was. Now Shinji's even more traumatized now. They had to kill his gay lover. So yeah.
Yeah, poor guy.
Poor
guy.
Sure, I don't think it says poor him, but so yeah.
So they're in a really bad position if there was like an angel attack tomorrow.
Everybody's in a really bad position right now. Everybody has mental trauma.
One thing we do learn though is that this is the last angel.
Yes.
The Sealy even like admits this. They knew that according to the Dead Sea Scrolls, there were going to be 17.
And there's like one more, or there's 4 Avas on the way, mass production.
Yeah, so they're definitely
mass production
trying to subvert the power that that Nerve has.
Yes, all the dummy plugged mass production ones we're gonna get. And yeah, anything else that was any other detail? Because there's a lot of plot dumps, as we said. There's nothing else that we missed talking about.
We actually do see. So, I'm looking at like the additions to the director's cut version that weren't the original. Mm-hmm. We don't actually see the scene in the original episode, but we see a really quick scene where Asuka is told by Shinji that Kaji's dead and he's not coming back. And she smacked him, and there's like spilled coffee.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. That was just a quick thing, but I feel like she was told that like multiple times, but
she just didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
Apparently they didn't even show the embryo Adam in Gendo's palm.
Really?
In the original version. Yeah, that's crazy.
Interesting.
They also expanded upon. We didn't talk about. So Kaoru has a conversation with Rei about how they're basically the same. You and I
are so different after all.
Yeah, and he kind of insinuates that Rei is from Lilith. Like Rei is kind of like this embodiment of a pseudo-human. I'm going to use that term.
Yeah.
Made out of Lilith, where he is one that's made out of Adam.
Yeah. Adam and Eve, and then you had Lilith, who's like one of the major
Lilith and Steve. Yes.
Major demons, and
I actually don't know what Lilith's whole thing is.
She's one of the major like demons or devils.
So she's according to Mesopotamian and Judaic mythology, she's the first wife of Adam, and supposedly the primordial she demon.
The fuck, Eve, man! Adam was the divorcee. Adam
damaged goods.
He lost a rib in the divorce.
She was banished for not complying and obeying with Adam. Allegedly.
That was kept out of my Bible school.
Yeah, well, that's
when I had to go there.
You went to Christian, not Jewish.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was with the Christian school. Sus.
So
I would love to hear the divorce arc. That would have been mad
Adam being a divorce guy.
Why wouldn't that in Record Ragnarok Adam lore? Lilith appeared in that Record Ragnarok recently too.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny. They should do a little thing about that.
She's hot. like a majority of Lilith interpretations in like any kind of media, for the most part, minus Evangelion, because Lilith is just a fucking corpse, a multi-eyed corpse, or it looks like a mask more than a face. So
yeah.
But anything else though? Because like I think it's a lot of plot dump. I think it's way too much.
It is too much. It's like admittedly too much. And it kind of like Ava's kind of coming at a conflict with itself here, where they're
reaching the end and they're like, there's still so much we need to say, and we can't get more episodes.
I think like the issue is, in one way, Ava is this really meticulously told story about all of these characters and their relationships and how the trauma of their past is kind of bumping up against their ability to be like connect with each other.
I'm starting to see why.
But then the other side is like, we have this really intricate plot that has to do with shadow governments and triple agents.
There's a lot of different shit happening right now, and I think I can see why an epilogue movie was made, or like a conclusion movie was made so far. And like you even warned me, like the second episode are ridiculous. What you said.
Yes, I did want to kind of before we watched the episode 24. I wanted to say like, all right, Sam, the last 2 episodes are going to be not what you were really expecting. So, because I feel like a lot of people are. I don't want to even say too much, but they're definitely not the same type of narrative that the series has followed so far. And I'm predicting that you might not get too much enjoyment out of them. But I would say hold tight, because End of Ava is certainly like the proper conclusion to Ava.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see how you enjoy them. But...
Okay. Hope I will. I've enjoyed many other things we've covered so far, so... I guess hopefully Ava will.
How are you feeling about Ava so far?
I said I'm liking it a lot. The last episode kind of the info dump stuff I don't like a lot, because I like to have it. I like mysteries being sprinkled slowly. That's what I liked about Attack on Titan. It had a couple. I had like one episode dedicated to the plot dump, but it wasn't like this where just like dialogue going like this, like rapid fire, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And that show wasn't nearly as symbolic, I guess, or like. I guess, or like
it does. It gets a little later,
where
but
it flashes stuff or like
Ava is cryptic.
Yeah, okay, that's the word I'm looking for more.
It's funny because like Attack on Titan feels very like mystery boxy.
Yeah.
In ways that like I think it's fine, but like that's kind of it was almost like a trend of like the whole mystery box, like that was like how television narrative became.
Yeah.
Even and like movies kind of do that too, but I would say that the like plot dump episode of Attack on Titan is like fantastic.
Yes.
And it like
changes the show.
Yeah, it literally
every time they do that,
it
changes the show.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's like done in such a cool way. Whereas this, it's like that's why Ava on a rewatch.
Yes, I was about
to
say that. I was like, I can feel on rewatch you can like start paying attention to other stuff more closely. You don't have to pay attention to the robots fighting or like the action stuff going on as much.
Knowing about all the bullshit doesn't really change too much, but having that in the back of your head and being able to like, okay, I don't need to think about this too much.
Yeah, that's why
I can focus more on Asuka trying to beat this level of Puyo Puyo Tetris.
That's why I'm excited when we're done with it to see like how is it time 3 you're watching this.
This might be my 4th like full rewatch of the series.
Very interested to see how you feel after watching it so many times, like what you get out of it now, and like.
I've always tried to space out my watches because the show is really dense, but I have like a really good memory for the show.
Mm-hmm.
And this time I was pleasantly surprised. There was a lot of new things I picked up on, and picked on.
You bullied it.
I picked on Asuka and Rei. I punched her and threw her in her locker.
Was the other corpse where
No, but in particular, Asuka's a character. Like one thing I think I mentioned before, when I rewatch series, I really like to kind of pick a new character
that's why when
focus on them.
When we were watching Attack on Titan again, and you watched it before me, I was asking like, oh, how do you feel, going back on this season, and like, what'd you get out of it new wise, and like. I always love hearing about that. Like, what you get out more so, or did you, especially once we're done, like what you get out of it? What you notice now that was obviously there?
Yeah,
like,
and like so, I like the character stuff for one thing. Like Asuka is a character that I really followed. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say followed closely because like obviously I'm paying attention to the whole series, but like when I did a rewatch of Cowboy Bebop recently, and Faye was a character that.
You pay attention to more.
Yeah, I really, and particularly like Faye's whole thing is that she's kind of supposed to be from like our time, and she's like cryogenically frozen. So I thought it was really interesting to connect with Faye in that way of being like, what if like I was put in that position?
And like genetically crafted to be the perfect person, if I remember correctly. Like that was like her character. I haven't watched Cowboy Bebop in a long time.
Part of it, I can't remember.
I swore that was part of it.
I think you're thinking of Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog, the ultimate life form. No, but I would totally be down after Ava to either do Death Note or Cowboy Bebop or something.
I don't want to rewatch. Personally, I don't want to rewatch Cowboy Bebop so soon. Death Note would be fun to watch, but what I want to finish my thought. But like the thing that I really enjoy going, what?
I said I would like to do Hellsing as well. But...
but
damn, Halloween's gonna be over by then.
I don't even want to think about when this episode's coming out. So like when I am going back, and the thing that I really pick up on is like the craftsmanship of the episodes, like the directing, structure.
Yeah. That's definitely you can get out more.
And like
where I'm paying attention more to the dialogue, and like
it's really hard to pay attention to those things when you're trying to like really like absorb the character, like I said, and like the plot,
especially with all the cryptic information or cryptic flashes. And like there's part like the last episode, I think, when Shinji like has the knife at her. I couldn't watch it because the flashing lights. I couldn't actually. It hurt my head.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't like I won't get a seizure or anything, but it's gonna give you a headache.
It's unpleasant. Yeah. There's a reason why they don't really do that anymore.
Yeah. I'm like, hope Jim pay attention to this conversation, or hope it's not important.
Oh, I suffer through the pain. But yeah, I think it's just like, well, on a first watch, just through Ava especially, like you want to try and pay attention as much as you can to like what the fuck's actually happening.
Yeah. I was like, how was your mindset in your first watch through of like all this?
I definitely liked it. I didn't like love it. It took me like a while to like when I rewatched Ava, I was like, oh, this shit's like amazing. And it really resonated with me. But I was so just intrigued by the plot of everything that I just always wanted to see more and more. And I thought the characters were really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until like I really took a deep dive and like Like there's so much depth with like
watching
character.
Analysis videos about it or anything.
Oh yeah, you know it, baby.
You do the deep dive into YouTube.
I remember I think they're called the Wet Rats. There were these two guys that did a little Ava podcast I listened to back in like 2014.
It was probably a better time to watch that stuff where like people once like the analysis channels got like way too popular, where like a lot of crap now, like all the Edge Runner stuff is just very bad and funny about like this.
I just like the whole analysis YouTube has just been like video essay YouTube. It's too like trash now. There's so much garbage. Yeah. Before it used to just be like a few people doing it and they were pretty insightful, but now it's like any Joe Blow can make an hour-long video about whatever
the
he
secret
likes.
Brilliance of Edge Runner.
Literally, why Smiling Friends is a masterpiece in comedy. It's like, all right, I like the show, but it's not a fucking masterpiece in comedy. Like,
why Rick and Morty blows away the mind of
of me and my mom and my daddy. But what was I saying? Oh, one other big one too is Demolition D, also known as Douchebag Chocolat on YouTube.
Sure.
He had this isn't the time where you had to like upload videos like shorter length because hour-long thing wasn't allowed yet or whatever. Maybe. But he did like a whole 3-part series about how he doesn't like the rebuilds. And that was a pretty early example of me like finding analysis about Ava that I thought was really insightful, because he talks about like the changes in the rebuilds he doesn't like. And also I kind of went down that journey too of like finding the rebuilds, being like, wow, it's like Ava in HD. And then I don't know. I don't want to spoil your journey with them, but
yeah.
I kind of find them to be like extremely unessential for
I've heard
the Ava series.
I heard that a lot where people complain about it, but they get excited when a new one would come out or be made.
Yeah,
they just consume content.
Yeah, it hurts. I like parts of it. I like parts of them, and like the messages of them are pretty good, but ultimately it's like it's Ava has like looked into the abyss too long. Like it has become like the over merchandised bullshit fan servicey thing. Like it cannot like come back from that
commercialized product now.
Yeah, it's hard to explain without watching.
Like I said, before we started this, all I knew Ava was just like everybody loves it. This overly marketed thing that's everywhere in Japan, and I'm just like watching. I'm like, why did this thing become like commercialized and everything? Like all the characters you slap on everything are so like fucked up, damaged. Like they need like help, and like you don't have characters. I want to see like they're smiling. Look at my new Gucci bag from Asuka saying that, and like no, these characters are fucked up. Or like buy these condoms with Kaido or Karu on there, and like Shinji. I'm like, no. That's like that video of like the I survived just on Ava merch.
Oh yeah,
it's like sad because like they made this so much horseshit of just like. No, these characters. This is like against what these characters would go through. They shouldn't be like figures are one thing, models are one thing. Yeah, those are things you can make money off of. But just like all the product, it's just so funny to see all these characters smiling. I'm like, no, Misato is just like you put her on a beer. That's fine. That makes sense.
Misato should be used to advertise beer. I would not be surprised if she's been put on beer.
She has to be.
But yeah, no, I agree too, and I think this is a really interesting like way that fandom culture. And like fandom culture at large, I'm not just talking about like internet culture, takes a series like Ava and kind of strips it from like the real like deep elements of it. Like what we're talking about in this episode, like how miserably traumatized Misato is, the point where she can't even connect with Shinji anymore. Shinji having nobody, like these are incredibly like impactful. Like I can understand how somebody viewing this, like me, forms like a really deep connection with the work because of the characters. Mm-hmm. And then like I like seeing pictures of Rei, and then I talk about Rei on the internet. It's like, oh look, Rei is on that sweatshirt, I'll buy it. Oh look, Rei's on that coffee cup, I'll get that. And it just kind of becomes like this all-consuming thing where like you're reminded of like the way you felt by the thing, but it becomes like this kind of memory of a memory, to the point where we have Asuka on like Gucci bags or whatever. Actually, if I saw an Asuka Gucci bag, I would fucking buy it because it's hilarious. It does sort of disconnect with the work,
especially a show about like, oh yeah, the world, global warming, all that. Like, it's like it commentates on so much stuff, and just like products.
And I think it's really interesting also to bring the whole waifu wars connection.
Yeah,
because that is like having seen most of the series, isn't it hilarious that people like gloriously sexualized and are obsessed with like Asuka
and like
or Rei.
And like the fan service stuff is more so for Shinji, or like you see like how, especially on Rei, is like shows how much like of a human she isn't.
Yeah, she has no concept of like shame or privacy. Like and the time she does express human emotions are very weird.
You just saw naked Asuka. What's the show? She's completely fucking broken. Like,
yeah, it's
showing it on Ritsuko, showing that she's like seen as just flesh.
Yeah, exactly. It's dehumanizing. It's dehumanizing. It's not like an erotic. I have to say that is actually pretty crazy. Like these two episodes, because a lot of times, even when like especially in anime, when naked characters are shown, it can be done in a provocative way, even if it's not supposed to be. But in these two examples, like Asuka, it's like disgusting how she looks. She's like gaunt and she's like starving.
Yeah.
And she's in like a dirty fucking tub. It's not supposed to be arousing. And Ritsuko also, like, she's exposed. She's naked. It's not titillating. We see her butt, but that's it. Like,
it's not used as like an attractive way, kind of like
there's no like male gazy aspect
like,
to it.
Whoa, like even like the whole I said the Shinji accidentally grabbing the boob was also to show Rei not reacting and like it's Shinji's like feeling stuff because that he's a teenage kid and that's like, you know, but he's not like whoa and then he gets slapped in the face. No, it's the shows like non-human Rei, non-emotional Rei.
Yeah, I think later, like a few minutes later, she slaps him in the face because he says something mean about Gendo.
Yes,
like,
he does.
That's how like distorted Rei's concept of reality is.
Yeah. It's fascinating of like it's the same thing of like people who don't the standard like who's your favorite character, American Psycho guy, or like people who miss the point of like the same kind of league of like the Naoto kanji thing in Persona 4 where it's just like people don't get the thing of it and just goes
dangerous ground to tread on.
We talked about it plenty of times.
We have. I'm fully in agreement with you.
But it's just one of the things where because people. It literally is the meme of whoa, hot girl, teenage girls, and then the real plot of the show goes over their head.
Yeah,
and
literally.
Like, yeah, it's literally that, and multiple times. Is that the first thing we've seen in that? Which is sad, but what can you do?
And at the same time, like I can understand like the waifu appeal because like this series did a lot for like quote unquote developing waifu.
Whoa,
culture.
that bodysuit get really tight on Asuka though.
Yeah,
and, like that whole thing.
And it's just it's a very anime thing.
Yes.
I can't really see this happening in like any other medium.
No.
It's very interesting.
Imagine...
But also like I think it really is more of a testament to the deep connection that people have with the series. But as you were saying, it's kind of weird when you're turning that into like merchandising and
I wonder like there probably is about with the interviews with Anno about like he probably has no. I wonder if he has a hand in all the merchandising or just signed stuff away for people to merchandise his stuff.
You know, I really don't know. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't mind the money coming in.
It's like I use it to fund my other projects like Shin Godzilla and like all and like rebuilds and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a tax write off. Like, oh yeah, I just do Fast and Furious movies to fund Chronicles of Riddick movies or like the Last Witch Hunter movie. Like I just use these as a proxy to make money to make movies I want to make.
And it's really interesting too with Anno because like we haven't really talked about his whole like deal, but I'm pretty sure he's not really super into Eva. Like
I
don't think he likes the original series much anymore.
Yeah.
Because when he made it, he was in like a very dark place.
Yeah.
So I can totally
understand. Of maybe reminds him of that dark place you don't want to be in anymore.
He also has like very complex daddy issues, which comes up in the Rebuild. And
yeah.
also it's very relevant to the main series.
Rebuild is probably a retelling of the way he wants to write. He would write it now. But.
Yes. That's kind of the thesis behind it. And I would say, like, not to spoil anything, but the final Rebuild movie kind of it almost like feels like it was giving him catharsis. Like it was a way for him to finally like work through something.
Is that the last one, or did they tease another one after that?
Technically, Anno said he's done
until he needs money to make Shin Super Sentai. And...
I don't think Anno's gonna want for money ever again. I think he's still the
Shin Gamera.
I think he's still the head of Studio Kara. But no, he said he doesn't want to do it, but the co-director, who I believe is the Fully Cooley guy,
okay,
he co-directed all the Rebuild. I think I might be wrong. He did express interest in doing maybe a
spin-off or something.
There is like a long period of time between two of the Rebuild movies that could be turned into a movie. I would not care to see that done. I think that Ava should be kind of put to bed forever.
Let it die.
It should be killed until they make the inevitable Hollywood live action movie. That should be the next Ava movie.
Who's the kid in Dune?
Timothy.
Yeah, he's gonna be Shinji.
He's like 25 at this point. He's way too old.
Not the first time.
He's like the age of Gendo.
Not the first time they did that.
It's true.
Zendaya will be Asuka.
Just imagine the cast of Spider-Man being
the Dune cast is gonna be in this movie. Josh Brolin will be Gendo.
Okay, Josh Brolin is Gendo.
Jason Momoa will be Kaiji.
The only problem I have with Josh Brolin as Gendo is Josh Brolin's too cool. Like, Gendo should be kind of a loser. Like, because, I don't know, I always think about the flashback Gendo, how he's supposed to just be, like, a meaner Shinji.
They're just going to take the cast from Dune and just put them in.
Misato, if what's her face is Misato, who played Jessica?
Jessica in what?
Lady Jessica from Dune.
I don't know. Other than that, I don't think I know any of the female cast members in Dune.
I think I told you about this, but it's hilarious how Zendaya is like literally in like 4 seconds of the Dune movie, and she's like top billed.
That's very funny. I think Jason Momoa could definitely be Kaji, or Henry Cavill.
Jason Momoa
or Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill.
Cavill.
Oh, that is really tough. I would love to see Jason Momoa be Kaji. I feel like he has like the charming.
I think so too.
Charming aspect, but also like, oh, this guy's like he's got more going on. Henry Cavill would be really good with that too.
I think so.
This is one thing that I'm strangely okay with.
Then I don't know who. I can't think of the other young actors for Rei.
I can't really name any young actors. Oh, the girl that played 11.
she's also
perpetually just a teenager.
That would be really good, though. I think it
would make me infuriated.
It's so
What's her
funny.
name? Madeline Pryor.
No, Madeline Pryor's from X-Men. That's literally like.
I thought Madeline Pryor was like a.
That's an X-Men character. No, she's like.
She's one of the Jean Grey clones.
Yes, she's Cable's mother. Mari.
I thought Madeline Pryor was a real human.
Is it Mari Williams or Mari Wilson?
Maisie Williams is from
Game of Thrones.
Yes.
She can work too. I think she could work as well.
Yeah.
But they would cast what's it called, Taylor Anna-Joy as one of them.
Misato. Like, no, Ritsuko. She'd be perfect. She'd be perfect Ritsuko.
There we go.
She'd be perfect Ritsuko.
We're shooting the shit right now.
This sucks.
This is the first time we did casting.
It is not. Okay, that's all I really have to say. I mean, we went on a real tangent about Ava as a series.
And a live-action American movie.
Yeah.
They would do a movie probably more so than a live-action series. I mean, they are doing a One Piece series, live-action series.
If Netflix does it, they could probably be a series. But
yeah. Hey, we'll get that live-action Your Name any day now.
I was literally just about to look up when we put our episode.
I'm going to say 2016.
Sam and I, years ago, made a prediction podcast about live-action Your Name. Because at the time...
That aged horribly, I'm sure, now.
Because, yeah, all the actors wouldn't play those characters. Who was it? The guy who did Lost was tied to do it.
Oh, God. I don't know.
Oh, what's his name? Oh, my God.
But Chris Pratt as Gendo.
No. I need to find out when we did this.
You can do it. I'm going to say 2016.
Michael, no. What's his name?
I don't know, Jim. I didn't watch Lost.
Oh, here we go.
You watched Lost.
59 views. So it's...
Damn.
From 9 years ago. Oh, I did put Seth Rogen in the thumbnail. Oh, damn, I didn't write it. He's the Lost guy. He's apparently supposed to... 2017.
Damn.
September 29th.
Damn.
And here's the thumbnail. I think we said... Zac Efron as the boy and...
Zac Efron.
What's
my God, it's Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence is going to be the girl.
Jennifer Lawrence is Masato.
There's also going to be weed references. I think we said that instead of an earthquake, it was going to be a satellite. Or no, it was a satellite in the movie, wasn't it? Or was it a meteor?
It was a meteor.
I think we said it was going to be
it was a comet or a meteor.
Yeah, I think we said it was going to be like a satellite laser instead of a... I don't know. Go listen to the American Your Name movie speculation
just
podcast.
Just wee-babs.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't think we could drink then.
Oh, I think we both did 2 pitches because in the comment or the thing, there's no comments for this. It says, whose pitch do you think is better? So apparently we both pitched.
And you'll never know.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, it's probably not going to be that cast that we said.
Well, we've gone on for an hour and a half though, so.
All right, do you want to plug it up?
Overall, all over the place episodes. I say thumbs up though, but still kind of like. I'm glad I had someone who can like understand, watch this multiple times to like lay down the info for me.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say earlier, I don't have a problem spoiling some of these like bullshit backstory elements because they're not conveyed in a way that is easy to understand.
I'm free to ask you questions, and if it does come up, you do let me know, so I'm like not like have the thought in the back of my head tired of the time. Like
it's just for your viewing, make your viewing experience better.
Yes. So all right, plug up.
Plug it up, Sam.
What am I plugging? All the stuff in all those Rei clones.
Plug the hole up in Shinji's heart after he had to kill Karu.
Thank you all very much for listening this far to an hour and a half of nonsense talk by the end.
Yeah.
And that's the first time. But if you haven't already, leave a comment about any thoughts you have about this arc. Or this episodes, I guess. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter or me and Jim separately. You can also join our Discord. And with that, I think that's
also, it. It's so late to even announce this, but I think this is going to be on Spotify as well.
Probably by now.
Yeah, you'll have seen it already. If it's on there, you're probably already listening.
Like
to
I said, if we've had these on backlog long enough to like probably be on Spotify.
Yeah, just to clarify, we still have not released a single one of these yet, so that's why we've not responded to any of the comments. At least in the recordings. Yeah.
Yeah. But with that, we will see you on the finale of the season of Evangelion. Not the movie, of course, but
we'll talk about the final 2 episodes, 25 and 26.
Damn. Well, hopefully we'll see you then.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.